One of my friends, when I used to work at PwC, his name is Sharan. He had a completed CA. He was actually, I think, a ranker from Baroda, come to Bombay and started working with me at PwC in transfer pricing. When he was with me in PwC, he had a goal. He wanted to get into investment banking, and he made a detailed, thorough plan to ensure that his career goals became a reality. From PwC, he also started CFA. I remember him completing CFA along with PwC, and then he joined Citibank. And after he joined Citibank, he studied for his MBA and he got admission in Rice University in the US. His objective was that he become a CA, work in PwC, do CFA, work at Citibank, go to Rice University, and his entire career so far with experiences in brands like PwC and Citibank, having so much of education in the field of finance and MBA will eventually make him an investment banker. And that's exactly what he is today. So in this video, we're going to discuss that if you are a CA and you want to create a path to investment banking, is it the right path for you and how exactly does it work? So first and foremost, why do people who are CAs want to get into investment banking if they've not started their career? Well, number one, people can't really just jump into investment banking at the beginning of their career or as soon as they're done with their qualification. It does happen. I do know a couple of our students who've been fortunate enough and they obviously have been brilliant themselves. You can get into it, but it's very rare. So what most people do is they need to start working in the world. You can work in audit, you can work in finance, you can work in banks with the idea that you keep looking for opportunities over the next couple of years to jump into investment banking. Now, when you're working as a CA, many people, including me, we started with what seemed the best option at that time. It wasn't like I had pre-decided I wanted to get into transfer pricing and become a specialist or a partner in that world. And I know many CAs, in fact, most CAs that way start their career. But as they enter into it and they start earning and they start understanding how the world is, they start aspiring towards other options. And then IB becomes one of them. Now, IB is exciting for people for lots of reasons, a quick example is obviously the money of the amount you can earn is extremely high. I have people who have done almost $100 million deals. That's all. Think about it as almost 1,000 crores deal for somebody else. And they in turn get around 2 to 3% as commission if it's successful. So in one mega deal, which could go on for 6 months, 18 months, they'll end up netting 20 to 30 CR, at least in this example. Even if you do just that much, it's a life-changing event for most people. Imagine that's your career. Imagine you keep doing that and you keep getting chances and you might fail a lot, but when you succeed big. That's a huge aspiration for people who are in the investment banking field or rather who are wanting to get into it. It's also, once you understand what it is, if your social skills are awesome, if your communication is great, if you're fit basically, besides the technical aspects, you are also very good at the other aspects of investment banking, it becomes even more exciting because if you're very good at networking, you're very good at meeting the top CEOs, the top bankers, you're very good at staying in touch with them, and you're very good at finance and knowing the news and understanding how these deals and transactions work. It's high effort, high reward, and anybody wants a fulfilling career, that's how they really aim at getting into IB. So there are multiple reasons why you can get into investment banking. And remember guys, investment banking, we're making many videos on it. There is front end, there is mid office, and there is back end. All of them have their pros and cons. You should not decide which one you want unless you know what skills are required in each and where you fit. But remember that if you're a chartered accountant, you can step into either of them depending on your situation and the amount of time you spend, amount of exposure you have in the market. And along with the basics of you can become an investment banker, there are a multitude of roles within it. You can get into anti-money laundering. You can get into risk management. You can get into capital market operations. You can become the lead for operations as an investment banker. It's just a lot of great options. You can, of course, have your own little boutique firm and then make it something massive. You can work in the Goldman Sachs and the JP Morgans. You can work in the Motilal Oswal and the Kotak Mahindra. All of these have some arm of investment banking, either front end or operations or mid office or back end. That's the plethora of options basically are a lot. Now, what are the skills that overlap between CA and IB? CA, of course, number one is the details of the world of finance. CAs are put through a grueling process where you study almost all the necessary data points, the necessary principles and concepts you need to become an expert in finance. That's one. You have really strong analytical skills. That's two, because you're forced to do things such as audit or create something from scratch and then measure how it's going, track how it's going, and you have to keep on analyzing things by trying to recognize patterns and understanding if this is how it works, what can I predict that will happen, or what changes can I make here that will make the company, whichever I'm working for, whatever my clients are, how do I help them advance? All this is what CAs get trained for. So these analytic skills are great. We have a lot of regulatory understanding. CAs study Indian law, the Indian accounting standards, Indian taxation. All of this comes handy when you are, again, in the world of investment banking, helping multi-million, sometimes billion-dollar transactions. And somewhere in that entire process, you are helping your clients. All of this comes if you've studied CA. So the final question, what are the ways that you can, as a CA, get into IB? Well, if you're anything like Sharan, my friend, right, you actually have a detailed plan in your head, willing to put in the time for the first couple of years, because you know that working in certain brands and studying particular qualifications like CFA, many people know that we at Zell have an investment banking program where it's all about just trying to get people upskilled enough to get a job. So, there are these multitude of academic steps you can take. The other is pure exposure and effort. I know people have jumped in many ways from audit to finance, and they found an opportunity to work in a small boutique IB firm. They find an opportunity to work on 1 or 2 deals through and through. They get a small opportunity to enter into the VC world. There are many ways that you can really get there. But for that, you have to obviously have a lot of patience and luck on your side. But more importantly, it's about how you seek out these opportunities without giving up. Because if you just say, I want this, and you expect it to come within a few weeks, it's obviously that's too rare. So academics or work exposure, right? I'm not obviously going to talk about work because that eventually is on the individual. As long as you work hard, there's a very high chance you'll get there. When it comes to academics, we know that CFA is very, very well known. So if you're a chartered accountant studying CFA, even if you study CFA just level 1 and 2, you can get into this field and then you progress. And then you have these I know there are many short courses available. I will not be able to commit to any real value from many of these programs. You can do your research. What we do at Zell is it's a placement oriented course. So we have top people in the market, right, who we have connected to. So from your Accenture to JP Morgan to KPMG, people who worked in the IB world, that people who started at a very young age. Like I was mentioning, one of my students who's seemingly killing it. We spoke to all of them, understood what's required in the market, and worked backwards to create an operations course. It's not for front end, that's a different thing we're going to be working towards. But at least we want to start your career. It's easiest to get into operations. It's easiest to start your networking there, your learnings over there. Your main thing is to get a job. And if you go through these kind of programs, when you're being interviewed, you obviously know what's to be asked, and the interviewer knows that you are ready for this particular course. So that's what we've been trying to create. Irrespective, if you don't want to go for a 6-month program that we do, then please think about CFA or something short. Or on the experience side, keep talking to people, keep sending your CVs, keep working hard. At some point, hopefully, you can enter this world and change your life.